Game on, buddy!
Game on, Durs. Grab your sticks, huck them in the middle. It's time for another episode of Straight Off the Pipe. I don't know what we're at. It might be 63, it might be 64, but math is hard for the two of us. But our episodes are somewhere there. How you doing, buddy?
It's good to see you, first of all. It's been a long time.
Thanks.
Back in the saddle.
It's been too long. It has been too long, for sure. But a good time to get together. Right? Connor McDavid turns 26 on the 13th, and the Oilers put up 13 goals in their last two games. 13-3 is a pretty nice differential when you're playing teams in your own division. Connor looks nuclear and unstoppable. I think he's about 20% ahead of the rest of the league when it comes to scoring, and looks like it's his league and everybody else is playing in it. Pretty fun game to watch. Yeah.
Well, on the Connor McDavid front, did you know that last night Connor was the first guy to get to 80 points since 1995-96 when Mario Jágr and Ron Francis did it in, the fastest player. Yeah. So,
What's crazy about that is that three players did it there.
Yeah.
Not just one.
Yeah.
On the same team. Yeah. Absolutely nuts, right? And I mean, what did they say? Most points by the age of 26. It's only behind Gretzky, Lemieux, Howard, Chuck, and Yzerman. And I bet you if he didn't break his collarbone, he'd have been ahead of Yzerman. So, yeah, I mean, we're just so lucky. We're so lucky. We're looking at probably one of the best players that will ever play the game, and perhaps the most exciting player that will ever play the game. And we just need the rest of the team to catch up, don't we?
Well, there's a few guys going on this club, and there's a few guys that aren't. But he's when you thought you've seen the best player in the world reinvents himself and comes out the next year and he's even better. It reminds me of somebody from a different sport from a few years gone by.
I just about wore my Air Jordan hoodie for you today, but I didn't have time to change last minute. If I know who you're talking about, of course. Let an episode of this show go by without a Bulls reference. There you go. There it is. Looks like it's the hat you wore when you were 12.
It is, yeah. Yeah, some things never die.
I don't think any of us expected the Flames and the Oilers to be tied for the last wild card spot with the Avalanche chasing us at game 44 or whatever we're at in the season here. We had conversations many a time before the season and before this campaign got going that the Oilers would be weak at defense and that it was going to be their sore spot, Achilles heel, what have you. But we also said they're going to be good enough to get into the playoffs no matter what. Durs, are they still good enough to get into the playoffs no matter what?
Oh, man. It's going to be a grind down the stretch, but fortunately for them, I think their schedule, lets up a little bit. and guys are coming out of sick bay and getting healthy and starting to go. So yeah, I think they make it, but I predicted them to win the division. You predicted those other guys to do the same thing, and I also thought that Colorado was going to win the Stanley Cup again and go back to back. And all of these predictions are looking questionable at best right now, especially our division leaders.
And I think the real story there is, man, if there's ever been a year, isn't it this one? Right? Like, I mean, the West is wide open, man. And, we got to push our chips into the middle of the table here. We have to. It's at that point where we just can't waste any more years. And this is a prime opportunity based on the way that our top two players are playing, and the fact that the rest of the league is in the West is not playing the way they were, right? I think there's so much parity there that all it'll take is making the playoffs, getting a bit of help on the back end at the trade deadline, and then letting, Connor McDavid and one-leg Leon do what they do. But I'm just, man, I'm starting to feel a little bit scared that you said it's going to be a grind. Ugh, this shouldn't have been a grind, man. And we cannot, under any circumstances, waste one of the top 5 to 10 offensive seasons ever. Like, if Connor does this and takes the team on his back and drags them that far and we don't make it doing what he's done, I don't know. I don't want to think about the consequences. And
it's not just Connor, right? I mean, Nuge is having a hell of a season. Draisaitl's having another great year, and Hyman's having a good year. Mm-hmm. So it's not all McDavid pulling the rope. You're leading me to kind of something that I got into on Twitter. At first I wasn't really all that receptive to the Jacob Chychrun talk, but really analyzing our back end, I knew this before, but we don't need just one defenseman. I think we need two. I think we do. We're in desperate need of that hard-nosed, gritty, tough, son of a bitch defenseman. And we might have found it, in a guy that's been scrapping for an NHL career his whole life in Desharnais. But shoring up that left side, I think, I don't want to make this about everything we talked about last year, but there is an absence on the left side, and I think we both can agree on that. And having another guy that's a capable puck mover, pretty good offensively, and holds his own defensively in Chychrun, yeah, I think they should swing for the fence and go get him. And I proposed on Twitter, a first, a second, Puljujärvi. I said Broberg. I got pushback on that. People saying it should be Bouchard instead of Broberg, and also adding Fogel to that. And the only reason I say add Fogel is to make cap room for when Kane returns.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Ken Holland wants to pay that price. I hope Ken Holland doesn't pay that price. Hey, look, would I hate to see Chychrun skating around in an Oilers jersey? No. I just don't think it's the right move. I'll stand on it in this soapbox and scream it if I have to, but everything that Chychrun brings, we already have, good and bad. We already have injury-prone defensemen, and Chychrun's played 6 out of every 10 games of his entire career. He misses 40% of his games. What if you get that guy and he gets hurt right before the playoffs?
So
great. Now what does that do for us?
So you're kind of thinking you're giving up a lot to get Broberg back, basically?
Yeah, well, no, he's better than Broberg, but everything Chychrun does right is on the man advantage. He's not a great 5-on-5 player. That doesn't help where our deficiencies are. And what are you going to do in order to put Chychrun in the best place possible so you'd be able to succeed? You've got to put him on the power play.
Yeah.
So
And
Barry's one of the best power play quarterbacks
Yeah.
in the last decade.
Yeah, I don't do any.
Based on what he's done with Colorado till now, and we've got Bouchard in the wings. Bouchard is a 60-point defenseman waiting to happen, and when he's on that power play eventually, he's all the quarterback we need. He's the most offensive, productive OHL defenseman in the history of the OHL. It'll translate eventually. It takes 200 games for an NHL defenseman to get there, and Bouchard's maybe at 100.
Okay.
So give him the season he needs, and bring in Chychrun, and you're pushing Bouchard down. You're just not going to give him power play time. And I don't know.
I don't move Barry off the top unit power play for any more than what they do right now, because he's too efficient back there. It works with him back there. Anybody that says different, I think, is looking at a different game.
So then why bring in Chychrun to be a subpar 5-on-5 player?
So what do you do with the defense?
You go get grit. You go get where our deficiencies are. In order to bring in, I get that Chychrun is, valued at $11 million or $10 million a year, and he makes $4 million, and I get that he's in his prime, and we need guys in their prime right now. I totally agree with that. Just the price and the opportunity cost is way too high in my opinion, to get something that we already have, when you can for less money go out and get Radko Gudas and the other shooting-handed Radko Gudas. That's what you need in the playoffs. You need to have people scared to be in your blue paint, scared to go to your net, which nobody is against our team. Nurse is the only one that can dish punishment out back there, and we can't have him in the penalty box.
So some stranger pipes up here, says Oil fans seem certain that McDry will leave if they don't win the cup before the contract expires. That only speaks to the level of desperation on the part of the fans. I don't know. I don't want to tempt fate and find out. Yeah. I think
win a cup and the conversation's over.
Yeah. And I mean, they need to win a cup here. So
that's what I mean.
Yeah. And I don't know. If you're in a go now mode, I think you have to be willing to take some chances too. But
chances, not first round picks and Broberg, and for a guy that brings all the same that we already have. I mean, look, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say that I'm not scared Draisaitl's going to leave for New York or LA. His girlfriend lives in LA. He loves the big city. If you're not from Canada, you don't want to really be in Canada. The only thing that ties Draisaitl heavily to the Oilers, in my opinion, is Davo, right? And if Leo goes, Davo goes, I think, and that's the scary thing for me. But I don't want to manifest it. I don't want to think about it either. Just go out and win a cup, and the conversation's over. But I also, I'm on the train for win now, and I'm on the train for push your chips into the middle, and you're all in. But all in isn't stupid all in on a deuce 7, right? You got to be all in on jacks or queens, and that's where we are, right? And you don't go giving up 2 first-round picks. Ken Holland cannot manage the team based on fear that someone might leave.
Right.
That's it. So, right, I would get Chychrun if I knew Draisaitl was leaving.
Russian roulette GMing is probably not the way to go about it, yeah.
Yeah, we've had enough of that here.
Have we? I don't know if anybody was really truly under the gun in the GM chair here.
Yeah, I suppose.
Chiarelli was just an idiot.
Yeah, sure. I think there was some trades made out of desperation for sure, and Chiarelli was guilty of a lot of them. But not under the gun as in win a cup now. It's get out of the lottery pick era kind of pressure, right? But Yeah, I appreciate the comment from some stranger and the question or what have you. It's a hot debate in the city right now, so it's worth bringing up and it's worth talking about. I just my firm belief on it is that Holland can't manage a team based on fear of someone leaving, and in that case, I don't think you can give up that type of, like, Broberg was a first and a high pick first, so you're giving up 3 first-round picks plus. If it's PRV, that's 4 people that were first round or first half of the first round picks. I don't know. That's pretty steep for Chychrun when you don't have to necessarily give up a lot of assets to get a guy like a Gudis or whatever. I don't know. I think making trades is going to be really hard, period. I heard the other day that 68% of the NHL is either at the cap and in LTIR. So it's, leaves a third of the league that you can make trades with, and does that third of the league have what you need, and do they have what you need, and can you make it work? It's going to be tough.
I think in Lotzi's article he brought up that next year we gain $8 million in cap space. So we're not right up. I've kind of thought this the whole time that really they're shooting for next year for this team. Not that they're necessarily punting right now. I think they want to go, but to actually try to hoist the cup, it's next year.
Was Lotzi's article pre-Skinner?
No.
Extension?
It might have been, yeah. Or sorry, no, it might have been after, because he brought up the whole Chychrun thing.
And then you'd have to expect.
I think it was just a couple weeks
ago. We're going
to
repay PRV, or whoever we get for play RV. It's going to need a contract likely too, but yeah, I mean, great. Improve the team at the deadline and then improve them again in the off season, right? I think we get out of LTIR next year, which is the key.
That's what he was talking about, like
Clefbaum and
Lucic, Sekera, all that stuff gets bye-bye.
Yeah, which gives you more flexibility, not just on the cap, but when you can make moves and when you can use your money. And I think when you're going into LTIR, you have to declare it either before the season or during the season, and depending on when you declare, it depends on when you can spend the money. It's convoluted as hell last time I looked.
Yeah.
So flexibility is the key.
What did you think of Mr. Jack Campbell and that save on Mr. Pickle Vlasic last night? Especially, considering the score of the fucking game, for him to sell out for a save like that, and I think that was the best save I've seen this season from either Tendy. That was first class. I mean, that was great.
That might have been the best save by a goaltender in the NHL this season. Never mind either Tendy for Edmonton. Soup stealing the pickle, hey? Yeah, man. I don't think he was selling out for a 6-1 lead. I think or 7-0 lead. I think he was selling out for a goddamn it, I need my confidence back. And every goal matters to Jack Campbell right now because he beats himself up so badly. So to put a couple of decent performances together and string that and have the save of the confidence that comes from making a save like that, hopefully gives Woody the confidence to throw him back in the net versus Vegas tonight. I can't imagine Skinner becomes available all of a sudden. I can't imagine they want to start Calvin Pickard after the performance Campbell had. So wouldn't hate seeing Pickard just to see what he could do, but ultimately I think Campbell's earned it, and for his confidence and psyche, he should be there. What did I think of it? Man, Vlasic's sitting in a psychiatrist chair today. Like that was robbery. Yeah, I mean, Jack Michael said it best when it happened. We will be watching that time and time again, folks, and we will.
So I guess we got to start charging people to comment here, because we just had some comment on there about trying to grow our channel for us. Oh man, everything's on there today. I don't think Skinner's wife had the baby yet. I haven't.
Oh, I'm not even sure, to be honest.
Yeah, so I don't think he's actually in Vegas yet. I think he's still in Edmonton.
Oh, okay.
I think it's Campbell's net.
And it should be. It should be. I mean, if he can get a win against the Vegas Knights, the team you're looking up at in your division, that you cannot have a 3-point game, none of those things. You take a win out of that, I'd say we got a pretty solid tandem looking down the last 30 games of the year. We got Kane coming back. Like I said on Michael's show last week, that I truly believe that the Oilers are coming into a streak where they're going to win 11 out of 14 or 12 out of 15 or something like that. I just think that as they get down the stretch, like, this team has always been the type that's paced themselves, haven't they? Right? Like, I don't know if I've ever seen two guys both self-load manage, but yet also simultaneously dominate the league. Right? Like, Leon can take nights off and he's still easily far and away the second best player in the NHL. Like, it's right.
It's it's not hard to tell when he's dog tired, is it?
Yeah.
And I mean, he takes the longest shifts in the NHL on average, and he gets a lot of ice time, takes every face-off that's key. I mean, when you're doing that on a road trip and you're injured, it's gonna catch up with you for sure. But yeah, you can see the games when he's just like, I got nothing tonight, and you're not getting anything tonight. And, we'll see. I think we've got some good things coming, with a little bit of momentum, and like we said, some players returning, or as you put it, sick bay returning. Maybe some help at the trade deadline. We're creeping up on that. It's not that far away.
What do you think of Desharnais from what you've seen?
You know what? Yeah, I don't know if you remember in the pregame show, in one of my Oilers stretch predictions, I said that Desharnais and Niemelainen would potentially play more games than Broberg. It's not far off. We'll see what happens with Broberg for the rest of the year. I think his play has been improved as of late, and he's maybe starting to get the pace a little bit more. I can see a little bit more sense of urgency in his game, which is nice. But man, Desharnais is the type of guy we need back there, right? Like, I'm talking about going and getting a Gudis. Well, I mean, you don't want to count on a rookie, but he's in his mid-20s. He's a rookie to the NHL, but he's not a rookie to hockey. He's not a young man. He was the captain of his collegiate team. He clearly has character. You don't play Tier 1 NCAA hockey for one of the best teams in the country and wear the C on your chest for being dog shit. 6'7" is unbelievable, right? Like, it took Charo a while to grow into his legs too. He was a giraffe for the first 18, 19-year-old years, and Charo's always the benchmark, but not everybody's going to get there. But if he could be anywhere close, that would be fantastic. His play on the penalty kill was maybe the most impressive thing I saw last night. And just like that ranginess is so incredible. Winnipeg did it to us, right? And they talked about it on that broadcast of how long and how rangy Lowry and all the guys were that were on the Jets PK. Desharnais can add that for us. And I like that he's got some pepper, right? I mean, we need somebody that's willing to go and punch somebody in the face. Niemelainen's probably not that guy, even though he hits people to hurt people. We can't have Nurse doing it. Kane's certainly willing to do it and has taken many a penalty like that and proven it. But having two or three more guys like that, Desharnais, Gudis, and somebody else, it'll start to give us a little bit better of a reputation that we can't be pushed around.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I didn't know he was as big as he is. I mean, that's
just giant.
Yeah, that's a mammoth guy out there. And I noticed, really zeroed in on him on one shift last night, where the play was kind of coming down on the right side, and he's playing right D, and he really goes to the middle and almost dares you to go wide on him. Mm-hmm. He's helping his partner, like he was, and I kind of like that. I mean, it's going to challenge him because he's going to run into people that have quick boots, and that might be a bit of a. But he's so big. Did that too. Try to go around me,
you in, and then all of a sudden you're poke checked before you realize.
Yep, try to go around me. I'm a giraffe. Good luck.
When you got this arm hanging out here, and then you got 3.5 feet of arm here, and your stick's another 7 feet. Like, you got a 10-foot poke check. And a 13-foot, that's the width of a condor.
Good reference.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Campbell's save. That's something else I was thinking. is how many more good games do you need to see before it becomes a 1A, 1B situation instead of you're just the backup?
He's almost there. I think Campbell's coming around. He's steadily improved since his confidence wasn't there to begin the year. I don't know. We're not seeing that goal from the circles every game like we were. I don't know who runs that Jack Campbell's glove hand Twitter account, but he's got his weekend because there's your 15 minutes of fame because that glove hand made one of the best saves I've seen in recent history last night.
Yeah, that was almost Cujo-esque, like on Nieuwendyk. Almost.
Yeah, it was nice.
Other direction, but...
What do you think the boys were whispering after that third goal when they all put their gloves up to their hands for the goal celebration?
Don't let your foot off the gas.
Maybe.
I know what
Keep shooting blocker side on this funnel.
Yeah, I know what you said, but...
Yeah, it was... Connor scores on a tap-in for the third goal. Nuge picks the corner because... he needed to, I guess. It was kind of a wide open net, but, Nuge wasn't missing that one. I think everything else went blocker side. So, I don't know. I felt like they figured something else on that play. It was like, they were on the bench going, hey, we should try this, and then if that happens, whatever. And then all of a sudden they're out on the ice and like, hey, it worked. Let's do that again.
For me last night, the most impressive thing about that game is really only allowing one and not really letting off the gas.
Yeah,
because when you get up by that much, it's easy to just mail it in and stop playing kind of. But they really didn't. They kept going.
Yeah. Last night I think it might have been their most dominant performance of the entire season. Like it was never even in question for San Jose. Don't quote me, maybe I'm off one or two, but I'm pretty sure high danger scoring chances were, no, not high danger scoring chances because that's natural stat trick. It was the grade A chances from Culta Hockey, I think I heard were 16-4 or 16-5 or something like that. And of those, only one of the 5 were a 5-alarm chance. So I'm pretty sure you know which one that one was, Mr. Vlasic. So if that's really the only true scoring chance they had all game, it was pretty dominant. Like I just loved how they were. Even when the game was 4-0, 5-0, you could still see the effort on trying to create a cycle in the offensive end and still trying to keep the puck deep, and like that takes work in the NHL. It's not easy to just dump and chase and go and get the puck and pass it around, and it's not men's league. You got to go out and fight for every inch that you're out there, right? And so creating a cycle and creating that movement and having a fight and battle. Just great to see, right? Like I think Costin's made a big difference. Like not just on the score sheet. I think just the type of player he is. He's starting to like that second goal was a thing of hockey brilliance and beauty. Even though it went off a skate and was lucky as hell, he goes to the back of the net. I think Louis talked about it after on the broadcast too. But he goes to the back of the net. He draws 2 guys in. He waits till the absolute last second to move the puck. Both guys, I think he hit him, one for sure, creates a ton of space for his teammate, who is Hyman at the time, gets the puck into the, front of the net area, which, now after Costin took a hit to make a play, he's right in the blue paint, right at the top of the crease, and sure, it goes off his skate, but goes off his skate because he's in the right spot, and his hockey IQ comes through in those types of situations. And when a guy has that kind of hockey IQ, but also is willing to punch someone in the mouth and take a hit from 2 guys to make a play, like, I don't know, I want that guy on my line. I want to play like that guy, right? Like, I think he's really done a lot for the way that there's consistency in our effort.
He's filling in from kind of the void that Yamamoto and Puljujärvi's play have kind of left.
Yeah, it's true, hey? And who would have thought?
We just had a comment there on the chat. Should the Oilers go after Ivan Provorov?
Yeah, he's a little bit more of a two-way guy, at least, but I think he's still got his defensive deficiencies as well. I think ultimately whoever we get needs to be able to play God, you're gonna freaking love this, but he needs to play like Duncan Keith. He needs to play 18 minutes a night. He needs to be calm, steady, get the puck out of our end. I never hated Duncan Keith. I hated that we wasted that much of our free cap space on that type of deal with no retention, and we had to pay him as much as we did. Now, all of that, I've told you, I've eaten crow because he retired, and maybe Holland knew that, and maybe if we got that cap recapture penalty, we'd have the defenseman we need. I still don't understand why the NHL just got to say, oh, no, you don't get that $2 million this year and $3 million next year anymore. Sorry about that. Even though Holland likely made that deal on the premise that he knew that Chicago would have to eat that. So, all that said, of course, you alluded to it before. I think we do miss Duncan Keith. Of course we do. We've got a veteran guy that can stay calm and be good in the room and on the bench and give advice when needed and take 18 minutes a night and get the puck out of your end fast and quickly and efficiently, and every once in a while get nasty. Give you a two-hander across the ankle, punch you back in the face. Those things are important, right?
Yeah, the mean nasty cross checks.
Not going to do that.
The mean nasty cross checks on the wall that even show up nurse. Yeah, all that stuff.
Right, so we need that guy back, but we need to pay him 1.5.
And he's been through it all, right?
Yeah.
How far has Gudas guy gotten in his Final Four? Has he been that far?
I'd have to go back and look. He's been traded so much recently, it's hard for me to track where he's even been. He wouldn't have got there in Philly. He might have got there in Ottawa. I'd have to go look, and I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah.
Regardless, he's still a veteran guy. He's still an absolute psychopath from everything I understand.
Yeah, he's mean.
And
he's
has
mean.
no issues, breaking your ankle if he needs to. So
yeah. Mean, borderline, dirty, yeah, all that stuff.
Yeah, so I'm happy to give up seconds and thirds and whatever we've got to give up on the farm, right? Like there's the Lavoys and the guys that are borderline that maybe they make it, maybe they don't. Whatever we got to do, that's fine. I just don't want to give up Bouchards and Brobergs and first-round picks in order to go all in now. I know it's win now, but it's just we can't give up that much for what we already have.
So you're going all in with half your chips.
As it is, I guess you are, aren't you? I mean,
Yeah.
you're counting on the right hand to push them in, I guess, still. And I just haven't seen the pocket queens come up.
Yeah.
But ultimately, nobody's making deals. It's expensive out there right now. Nobody's coming down on their price. There's only a third of the teams in the NHL that have any type of cap space to make things work, right? Like they're talking over and over and over about Erik Karlsson moving out of San Jose. Well, who can make that work? Like you can't unless it's a 3-team deal. And when do you see 3-team deals in the NHL?
Yeah, that's an NBA thing. It's not an NHL thing.
So it'll be tough. I just think, honestly, he's going to have to do what he's always done. Just take a gamble on his Mike Green, although not Mike Green, just it's going to be that veteran guy that's available that only costs him a second and a third, or, right? Maybe you can give up a third and play RV because play RV has negative value. That's the poor thing about it, right? Or maybe someone likes Yamamoto. Ultimately, I don't think the guys would like to see him gone, nor do I think the guys would like to see Fogle gone in your scenario you threw out there.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's somebody has to.
The only reason I attach Fogle to that really is to free up cap money for Kane's return.
Yeah, I think Connor and the boys get pretty upset if Fogs goes, but.
Depends.
Ultimately, do you want a cup or do you want your buddies on the team, right?
Right. I mean, yeah, but on one aspect too, it's you address an area of need, but do you create another by making the deal, and that's something to think about too. Fogle and Puljujärvi really haven't been lighting it up, but saying that Puljujärvi scores last night. So I think they're sort of expendable in a major transaction. But if you're just tinkering a little bit, are you really moving the needle enough to to win a cup, or you just making a move to make the playoffs, and it's tough. I mean, we're going to be in that grind just to make the playoffs, but when you get in there, you need to do something too. So
yeah, exactly.
And I don't like the idea of going after somebody, creating a hole for just this year. If you're going to create a hole, you better have a little bit to backfill for the next couple of years to come.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, what Chikrin's got 3 more years, right? If you need a Patrick Kane, he's got this plus another year or whatever, right? But yeah, if you're giving up big pieces, then you better be getting. It's the way Tampa did it, right?
That Patrick Kane idea would be a lot of fun. I don't know what you'd have to do to get it.
I think would be more fun if we're going to get one of them, to be honest. I think like that solidarity up the middle and the ability to move Nuge to the wing. And last time I checked face-off winning percentage, like I think Taves was 8 or 10% higher than anybody else in the league. Like he's at 65% or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah, adding Taves would add some stability. I don't know about the fun part, but it would add some stability. Winning
a cup is what's going to be the most fun, buddy. So
yeah. I guess from an entertainment aspect, Kane would add a lot. I mean, that would be a lot of offensive flair and dynamic hockey being played. But Taves would be stability, and you'd be rock solid down the middle.
Yeah, for sure. So, I don't know. What do you see the solution being? I see you starting to lean more to Chikrin.
I just think something needs to be done. And adding another veteran guy that is a puck mover, can play offensively, is a start, but it's not the finish line for that back end. And I'd like to see a little bit more of Desharnais, because maybe he is that shutdown, mean, nasty character that can play in the league, and that would help.
It would help.
I think we'll know more tonight. 2 watered down teams. I take it with a huge grain of salt, right?
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these are teams we should have beat, and we did, and we beat them handily, and that's great because way too often, we're playing down to other teams' levels. So, Jamie Benn just got one to come back 2-1. Flames scored 2 goals early in this game.
Beer League Heroes just piped up and said they need someone on the second pair who can take minutes from Nurse like Keith did last year.
It's essentially what we were saying, right? And I don't know who that guy is. I really don't. Not sure. Radko Gudas is a second pairing defenseman. But as soon as you get into the second pairing defenseman type of players, I mean, the price goes up astronomically. So it's hard to figure out who the right guy will be, and if, there's only so many sellers out there. So, right, if the Edmondsons and the Gudases and I don't know, maybe like is good Branson available or something out of Columbus? I don't know, right? Like that's the type of player we need. I just don't know how we get it, especially when everybody's going to be looking for that before the playoffs. I'd like to make our trade sooner than later.
Yeah, so they could build some chemistry before you got to start going to war together.
And I just think there's going to be a bidding war on that type of thing going into the trade deadline. Everybody wants defensive depth, and that's what we need too. So.
If I'm kind of revamping our blue line, what I'd like to see happen is CC pushed down to the second pair. And you need somebody to play top pair with Nurse, because that'll help Darnell, and then somebody on the left side, because Kulak was a revelation last year, but I think he's taken a step back this year. So scaling him back to a third pairing role consistently, I think, is kind of what needs to happen.
Yeah.
And I don't think Broberg's really quite ready to be, second pair left shot D yet.
Well, certainly not in a playoff run. I mean, we can't have Bouchard, Broberg, Desharnais, and Niemelainen as our 5, 6, 7, and 8. Like they have 150 games or 200 games combined experience. Like that just can't happen.
Kelly's saying Dumba it might be available, but he's a loose cannon, and Gudis is a third pair. Right shot, no. Chikrin is probably the most ideal for future and cost. Edmonton wants to stay in Montreal.
Yeah, and I've heard that too. I'm just saying that type of player because I don't know. That's why it's going to be so hard, right? Like I'm actually looking off to the side here and I'm looking at the bottom feeding Eastern teams and like I forgot Goodbranson just got signed there. Like I don't want Goodbranson for the next 3 years at $4 million, right? So I don't know. But you can get your buddy Mike Greer to try to send you up somebody from San Jose, but like, it's not going to work with Erik Karlsson. So, right? Like Vlasic's got one of the worst contracts in the NHL. There's not really anybody out that can fill the deed. It's going to be tough to find somebody. I don't know who they get. I'd almost rather Russell came out of retirement.
Well, that would solidify your seventh defenseman or eighth, but it's not moving the needle in the big games.
No, it's not. But who's going to? And I guess maybe that's why everybody's looking at Chikrin. But I don't know, man. I don't love it. I really don't.
Yeah, I don't know. Like you have to change it. It's not. We've seen it's not good enough. I think that's been proven, and I think pulling Kane out of the lineup, I think allowed us to kind of dissect what we really have here, and if we can solidify that when we add him, we've got a great team. But we need to solidify the defense. That to me, that's the biggest issue on this team. And adding Jonathan Taves, so you got that deep kind of Doug Weight at the end of his time in Carolina kind of guy on your team, right? So you got depth throughout your whole lineup.
Eric Stahl, whatever, that type of player.
Yeah.
Well, you said it earlier. I think tonight's the test. Shifting gears a bit. What do you predict for entertainment tonight?
Yeah. We seem to do well in Vegas, especially when we bribe the schedule maker to make it right around Connor's birthday every year.
And it's 2 out of the last 3 or 3 out of the last 4 that they seem to end up there in mid-January. I know they're going to want to party after that game to celebrate his birthday, and I don't think anybody loves partying after they loss. They're coming in with confidence. They got Playarvi scoring. They got, Gleam the Dream still scoring. They got everything seems to be rolling in the right direction, especially after the last 2 games. So, if you can get Campbell a win and go party together in Vegas, and how many times have you heard that a team bonds over a big, Donnybrook at the bar or whatever, right? So maybe they go out and have some fun tonight and after the game, and they're a better team as a result.
Yeah, I think they get it done today, but I think it's going to be a dogfight of a hockey game. I think Mark Stone might be out of the lineup for Vegas too, so that'll help.
So by dogfight, we're coming into a 2-1 game, or it's going to be typical Vegas Oilers and 5-4 in overtime kind of thing?
Yeah, what do you think? I think the red lights get a workout today, yeah.
So, well, that won't give Campbell a ton of confidence, but at the end of the day, let's just get him a win against, division rivals in consecutive games.
I think he plays good again. I don't think it's on him. I just think that's the kind of hockey it's going to be. Is just
fair. It's not always the goalie's fault. That's right.
Yeah.
All right, throw a score at me, buddy.
I'm going to say 4-3 in overtime. We get it done.
All right. I think you stole mine actually, so I'll say 4-2, and we do it with an empty netter.
Almost the same game.
Almost the same game. I'm sure you're giving up the Bettman point.
So I know you've got to run to the west end of the city. We thought we'd try a kind of, as Rashad calls it, a short shift today. Thanks everybody for watching. The chat did work, but on my screen here on our OBS system, it just circles spinning around the whole time. So I wasn't sure if it was actually going to work or not. It was great to get back in the chair with you, Dash. Any last words?
No, your screen is spinning just like our conversation goes in circles. It's just the way it is on Straight Off the Pipe, buddy. It's always fun doing this with you. It's more fun when we argue, but this is okay too.
Thanks for coming, and hope your little man feels better. Thanks everybody for watching. Subscribe to the Heavy Hockey Network, and check out all the articles on heavyhockey.com. And keep your sticks on the ice. Keep reaching for the stars, and you're going to whistle along with our little outro video. We'll see you next time.